I will be discussing with you the topic Understanding Students' Anxiety and Building Resiliency. So I am Mary Angeli Escabahungan. I am a college faculty and guidance coordinator in the College of Education in Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology. Ayan. So the objectives of this talk are the following. So first, to provide students knowledge and understanding about stress and anxiety. Next is to provide students practical coping tips or self-care tips on dealing stress and anxiety and acquire the means to develop and strengthen resilience. Yan. So, bago natin simulan, I would like to ask you, ayan, kumusta ka, friend? So you may type and key in your answers on our comment section. So how have you been feeling this week? So magkaroon tayo ng self-check awareness. So check muna natin yung ating feelings this week. Are you okay? Or have you felt loved, happy, overwhelmed, grateful, worried, sad, and angry? Ayan. So you can answer the following on the comment section below. Ayan. So I would like to just assure you, that whatever feelings you are having, so whatever feelings you are having this week or this day, so that is a valid feeling. So we are not responsible for that emotion. So whatever you're feeling, just acknowledge it. It's a valid feeling. Ayan, so thank you very much for your answers. Next naman, what is your pick-me-up these days? Ano ba yung mga sumasalba sa inyo ngayong mga nakaraang araw o ngayong araw? Ayan, so are you into TikTok? Ayan, so isa ka bang TikTokerist? Ayan. So, o isa ka ba sa mga nabubudol ng Lazada and Shopee? Ayan, kaka-browse mo, mga dapat bilhin kahit hindi naman ganun ka-importante. Yan, nabudol ng Lazada and Shopee kasi nga mura. And then Spotify. Are you into music? Siyempre, depende yan sa mood, kung anong pakikinggan natin. How about Netflix? Ayan na nga sinasabi natin. So, nakalista na kung ano yung mga sunod-sunod na panunuorin. Okay? May it be series or may it be movies. Ayan. O, sino naman dito yung ang motto sa buhay ay deserve ko kasi to best, deserve ko kasi gutom nga ako. Food panda. Ayan. So milk tea, ayan. Mga pagkain na nasa food panda na maraming discounts din. Ayan. And others, hindi ko na ilagay dito, you may be into plants, mga plantito-plantita natin, o yung iba naman nasa cooking, baking, yan. And others, maybe handcrafting, mga magagaling ang skills and talents sa pagbubuo ng mga kung ano-ano. Ayan. So just to keep yourself busy. Ayan. So thank you very much for your answers on these questions. Right. So to open this discussion, let me share this wisdom that your words create your thoughts. Your thoughts create your beliefs, and your beliefs create your life. So in this trying time that we are facing difficult situation and a lot of negativities, as much as possible, feed our minds with positivity and affirmation. So kung meron kang ilalagay sa iyong isip, let's make it good. Let's make it best, because our thoughts makes our beliefs, and our beliefs create our life. So if we feed our minds with great and positive thoughts, words, our life will also become a great one. So, good morning everyone, good afternoon sa mga kagigising pa lang. So, good night sa mga matutulog, pero allow me to be with you for a short while. Ayan. So, ano nga ba ang stress and anxiety? So, madalas natin siyang naririnig, lalo na nung onset ng pandemic, gas-gas term siya. Pero, the reality is, it is with us. Wala tayong magagawa. That's why we do not need to fight stress and anxiety. So ano nga ba si stress and anxiety? Generally, stress and anxiety are our body's natural reaction or response to a threat or danger. And the purpose of these reactions or responses is to ensure that the body is prepared, alert, and focused to any stressors. Pag sinabi nating stressors, these are events, these are conditions, these are situations that we need to deal with. Okay, so let's look into stress muna. So in the 1930s, Hans Selye, a Canadian scientist, started to use the term stress to mean the environmental agent where an organism responds and adapts. According to American Psychological Association or APA, stress is the physiological or psychological response to internal or external stressors. So again, it is a normal reaction of a body to a change. Okay? Kapag may pagbabagong magaganap. And it is normally felt during the times of adjustment or transition. A state wherein there is a disequilibrium or imbalance between a source of discomfort or a challenge, for example, a difficult situation, versus your coping skills available. So when we feel stressed, our feelings and our thinking is that our source of discomfort or the challenge is greater than our coping. That's why we feel stressed. Okay, and stress can be manifested on the following. So it can be manifested in different forms. So it can be physically manifested. That's why we feel the following. So we feel bodily aches or pain such as headache, back pain, muscle pain, chest pain, and other pains, di ba? Madalas yan yung likod mo ang sakit-sakit, ayan, and yan yung ulo laging madalas masakit, muscle pain, different parts of the body. And it can also be manifested cognitively. That's why you have difficulty in concentration and focus. Diba? Ang dami-dami kasing naiisip. Another is difficulty in keeping attention span. Diba? Hindi ka mapirme. Kasi ang daming kailangang tapusin. So yun lahat yung naiisip mo. And difficulty in decision making. Ang hirap-hirap mag-decide. Diba? Parang it's always a major decision to be made. Next is emotional. It can be manifested emotionally. That's why we have this feeling of worry, nababahala, and then fear. Natatakot tayo, and sadness, lulungkot tayo. And also, it can be manifested in the behavioral aspect. So, our relationships with other people, may it be family, our friends, our neighbors, our classmates. So how we interact with them is also affected. So maaaring yung interaction mo naging hindi ganun kaganda, or you prefer to isolate yourself. Yung iba, gusto nakakulong na lang, ganyan, nagmumukmok. Ayun. So that is caused by stress. Yan. Let's look into anxiety. So anxiety naman is a psychological overreaction that can make the most uncertain, unlikely, and potentially manageable threats seem both incredibly certain and absolutely unmanageable. Anxiety is a response to a vague and future threat, and it feeds on what ifs and uncertainty. It fills any unknowns with terrifying worst-case scenarios that keep us in a state of constant stress. Okay, so to better understand anxiety, okay, you know the feeling of fear, di ba? When we are afraid of something, you know the stressor, you know the cause. Example, fear of heights, fear of speaking in front of other people. So andun na, exactly, nandoon ang cause. Natakot ka sa ganito, natakot ka sa pagsasalita sa harapan, takot ka sa matataas na lugar. So you can avoid. Okay? Anxiety, sabi nga dito, it is vague and future-oriented. So we feel this stress, we are worried, we are feeling something about yung physically manifested, pero hindi natin alam kung saan nanggagaling. And that's anxiety. This pandemic made us anxious. Diba? Natatakot tayo sa hindi naman natin nakikita. Okay? Kasi nung onset ng pandemic, it's really vague. Hindi natin alam kung anong mangyayari because it's very abrupt. Yung nangyari sa atin ngayon na pandemic, we are not prepared for it. That's why we became very anxious. Hindi natin alam kung ano ang susunod na mangyayari. Okay? And another problem with anxiety is that it makes us feel helpless, powerless, overwhelmed, and paralyzed, all of which increase our feelings of vulnerability. So when we feel anxious, feeling natin parang wala tayong magagawa. Parang wala tayong solusyon sa kung ano man yung kailangan nating harapin. Right? So I would like to share with you the common struggles of students during the pandemic. So this is research led by Dr. Ronnie Baticolon and others, and it was published in 2021. So there are 5 barriers. So these are common struggles of students. So number 1 is technological barriers. 2, individual barriers. 3, domestic barriers. 4, institutional barriers. And number 5 is community barriers. So let's look into each one of this. So pag sinabi nating technological barriers, this includes the following. So lack of devices or limited access due to gadget sharing, unreliable, slow or no internet access, lack of technical skills, and issues with the online learning platform. Okay, so relate ba mga beshi? Ayan. So sa technical barriers, these are the responses collected by Dr. Baticolon. So it's a national survey of medical students in the Philippines. So we only have one desktop computer, which is also used by my brother, a student himself. Sabi nung isa, I live outside the city where my school is located. The internet connection is poor and unreliable. Another, I only use mobile data and internet credit is expensive. And last, our school uses blank as the main platform for online learning and it crashes often. Okay, di ba? So I think in this struggle, dito tayo makaka-relate. The internet connection is poor and unreliable. Ito yung pinaka-common under technological barrier. That, you know, when the internet connection becomes slow or hindi siya naging stable, nagkaroon ng unstable internet connection, we are really stressed and we feel like wala na, tapos na, hindi na ako nakapagklase, hindi na ako umabot. Then, di ba? And then mixed emotions after. Okay? Because we cannot do anything about it pag nagkaroon ng aberya sa internet connection. Okay, next, individual barriers. So, it includes difficulty adjusting learning styles, mental health difficulties, physical health issues, and practical concerns. So let's look into the responses. Sabi dito, having a hard time understanding materials on my own. Lack of drive to study since it's different from school setup. Next is procrastination, distractions like unlimited internet access. This pandemic gives nothing but uncertainty, stress, and anxiety. Eye strain and headache from prolonged use of gadgets. Ayan. So, for individual barriers, medyo marami, ano? So, yung adjustment kung saan ikaw na lang yung magtuturo sa sarili mo, ang hirap nating pinagdaanan. And I think hanggang ngayon, pinagdaraanan pa rin ng marami ito. So it's really difficult to understand materials on your module or on your activities on your own. Iba pa rin kasi yung dati na nandun tayo sa school. It's like when you cannot understand how your teacher relayed it to you, kung paano niya diniscuss, pwede kasi siyang ma-explain ng kaklase mo in a simpler, in your own language, yung mas madali mo bang makuha. Pero ngayon, ang hirap ng mangyari kasi nga we are physically distant, di ba? And you have this idea na baka ako na lang yung hindi nakakatapos. Baka sila tapos na. Yung ganyan. Another is yung procrastination. Like, 1 week pa naman yung deadline. So I think I can just browse in my feed sa Facebook. Mag-Facebook muna ako. Manood muna ako ng mga vlogs, ganyan. Hanggang sa naipunan na ng trabaho. Okay? And of course, eye strain and headache from prolonged use of gadgets. Ayan. So kasi nga, magdamag na kailangan nakaharap sa internet, ay sa iyong desktop, sa iyong laptop, sa iyong mobile phone. Diba? Kailangan mong mag-record, kailangan mong magbasa ng module, kailangan mong umattend ng online classes. So eye strain and headache are being experienced. Next, domestic barriers. So domestic barriers includes limited space, conducive for studying, need to fulfill responsibilities at home, conflicts within the family, financial distress within the household, need to work for extra income, and lack of basic needs. Okay, so sabi ng mga responses, home is not conducive for studying because of small space and noisy background. Relationship with family members is strained, so being in the house for so long is emotionally and mentally tiring. I have to work for extra income since the main source of income of our family is affected by the pandemic. We had no choice but to subscribe to an internet service provider despite my family being on a tight budget. So relate na relate sa domestic barriers, ano, mga beshi, mga anak. So we have to admit that really our home generally is not conducive for studying. Because not everyone has a space for study area. Okay? Hindi mo pwedeng i-schedule kung kailan titilaok yung manok. Hindi mo pwedeng i-schedule kung kailan tatahol yung aso. Diba? It will be there. Dun sa Win Sentiments, I know you are familiar with this. Diba? Nagpapakita sila doon ng reality ng setup ngayon ng teaching learning. So, doon pinapakita merong kapitbahay na nagvi-video okay, pero kailangan niyang umattend ng virtual classes. Ang ingay din ng electric fan nila, tapos umiiyak yung baby. So these are, of course, will cause distraction sa estudyante. And it's very stressful to be in an environment ng ingay-ingay, di ba? Tapos, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin sa kapitbahay na may online classes ka, they will not adjust for you. Kasi yun na yung nakagawian. Another is that, hindi lahat ng family ay happy family. Let's be real, okay? So, yung pandemic, this pandemic actually caused emotionally and mental stress to a lot. So, hindi man ito hayag. Pero we have a lot of students who experience a difficult a more difficult situation when they stayed at home. So, hindi lahat loving ang family members. Hindi lahat supportive ang family members. Hindi lahat okay ang family bond. Okay? So, nakakadagdag yon, of course, sa stress and anxiety ng isang student. Another is, we have a lot of students who are working while studying. I myself has a student who is actually posted along the highway. Nagtitinda siya ng fruits sa kalsada. And during our virtual classes, makikita mo talaga na may dumadaang sasakyan na siya ay nagtitinda ng iba't ibang prutas. So she needs to work because she's supporting her family and she has a kid. So marami sa atin dito yung kailangang magtrabaho, kailangang rumakit kasi kailangan ng pang-load, kailangan ng pang-tuition, kailangan ng bayad sa internet, diba? Pang-bayad kuryente and others. Another, so we had no choice but to subscribe to an internet service provider. So if you have an internet service provider na mabilis ang access, if your family actually gave you this internet service, talaga nagpakabit ang iyong mga magulang para sa iyong pag-aaral, then you are truly blessed. Kasi hindi lahat kaya na paglaanan ng budget ang internet service provider. Okay, that's why they have to really load yung sa prepaid para magkaroon ng internet connection. So again, these are the domestic barriers. Moving on, we have institutional barriers. So these institutional barriers basically refers to the school, the teachers, administrators. So sabi dito, this include administrative issues and lack of organization, poor communication between learners and educators, inadequate skills of educators, poor quality of learning materials, gaps in knowledge and skills from current teaching methods, excessive cognitive load, limited opportunities to interact with peers, and policies and practices that neglect student welfare. And looking into the responses, sabi dito, teachers keep saying that they want to assess us, but then they never give feedback to students. Next, lack of preparedness of educators to shift to online learning. Next is the workload is far too much compared to when there were face-to-face classes. And there is the need for peers for social connection and motivation. Ayan. So for institutional barriers, medyo marami-rami siya, no? But I think ang pinaka-i-highlight natin dito is yung workload is far too much compared to when there were face-to-face classes. Ayan, relate na relate. Actually, this is the common concerns kapag sa amin din. May mga clients kami sa guidance office. They are stressed because of the workload. Nung first 2 weeks ng opening ng classes, actually hindi pa petics mode. Pero pagdating ng 3rd week, 4th week, ayan, kasi inipon mo yung mga activities. Or maybe there are really teachers who give activities or requirements that are really impossible to be completed dun sa binigay nilang duration. Pero kasi kailangan din nating gumawa ng paraan. You can really manage your time well on that. Because ang learning dun kasi time management talaga. Na pagkabigay nung activity, huwag ka nang gumawa ng kahit ano. Direkta na. So sabi ko nga sa mga students, sa totoo lang kung titingnan natin yung mga activities, madali lang eh. Pero yung nag-pile up sila, ayan, medyo dyan ka talaga mga karag. Hindi mo na alam kung ano yung uunahin mo. But this is an unsolicited advice. For me lang, magkaroon ka ng checklist sa lahat ng activities mo. So you do your checklist. Ilagay mo lahat doon kung ano yung mga subjects and ano yung mga kailangan i-pass sa ganitong araw. And then you decide ano yung pinakamahirap gawin. So yun yung unahin mo. Ano yung unang gagawin mo? Decide on that as well. So para alam mo and at least updated ka na meron ka talagang gagawin. Hindi yung naubos talaga yung oras, kakanood mo ng vlogs, kakanood mo ng kung ano-ano sa Facebook or sa YouTube or kung ano man na nakapagdagdag sa piling of your activities and requirements. Okay, though we can also look into here that lack of preparation talaga sa mga educators because we teachers are really adjusting pa rin. So hindi naman kami techie, di ba? Most of the teachers are millennials kung hindi man boomers. Ayan. So hindi naman lahat pinanganak. So we are still learning. So that's still an institutional barriers that cause stress and anxiety to students. There. Next, community barriers. So community barriers include mobility restrictions due to community lockdown, power interruptions, and socio-political concerns. So sabi dito, rotational brownouts in provinces lasting for about 2 to 6 hours. As a concerned Filipino, with all that's happening in the government, it is so hard to just hunch over these books without being distracted. Ayan. So relate na relate tayo. Kung meron mang outside Nueva Ecija na nag-aaral dito, I think Muñoz area, ayan, madalas silang makaranas ng brownout. So 2 to 3 days naglalast, days daw talaga. And it's really difficult for the students to catch up, lalo na kapag virtual ang naging platform na ginamit ni teacher. So we cannot do anything about it, lalo na announced. So power interruptions to better provide service sa atin. So another yung socio-political concerns. You know, everything is really serious right now. Ang daming concerns ng government. Ayan, darating pa yung halalan. So medyo busy ang happening sa outside world. Ayan, di ba? Parang kasama din yan sa mga distractions sa atin kapag naririnig natin ito, sa pandemic cases, sa COVID-19, ito, ang dami na namang namatay, puno na yung ospital. You know, kahit hindi ka naman dati ganun ka into update sa outside world, sa paligid mo, kapag naririnig mo yun, it will actually affect you one way or another. Right? So, the key to managing our stress and anxiety lies in taking action. Right? So, hindi man natin ma-resolve lahat ng struggles na yan na kailangan nating i-deal sa ating buhay, na kailangan nating harapin. Because we are not superheroes, we are not God. So, one step at a time will help. So, how will it happen? In taking action. Right? So, I would like to share 7 self-care tips during the pandemic. And it was shared by Edward Elmshurst Health 2020. And according to study, Gen Z and millennials are more stressed than ever and need sound ways of coping. Ayan. So, first is to eat regularly. Okay. Isa ito sa mga na-neglect. Actually, kahit before pandemic, hindi naman na talaga kumakain ng regular ang mga estudyante. But you know, this pandemic, since nandiyan naman na kayo sa inyong mga bahay, eat regularly. O again ha, regularly. May oras. Hindi yung kailan mo na naman trip kumain, kung kailan ka may time. So we have to give time for our, nutrition. Ibigay naman natin yung nutrition sa ating katawan because ang asset talaga natin ngayong pandemic is our body. So eat regularly. So it may sound simple, but getting enough nutrition gives us the energy we need to get through the days so that we can think clearly and quickly and sleep better at night. So if regular meals are difficult, try to keep a stash of healthy, protein-packed snacks on hand. Ayan. So, sana true. Ayan. But as long as you are eating regularly, that is fine. Okay? Kumain ka ng umaga, tanghali, gabi. Ayan. So, para magkaroon ka ng magandang nutrisyon. Kasi kailangan pa rin natin yan. Okay? Next is to keep moving. So, keep moving refers to exercise. Ayan. So, wag nating gawing excuse yung hindi naman kasi pwedeng mag-workout ngayon kasi sarado yung gym. Okay? Ang dami pong pwedeng gawin sa bahay. Huwag kang magkulong, huwag kang magmukmok, huwag kang maghapong humilata. Ano? So, as much as possible, lumabas ka naman ng kwarto, magpa-attendance ka naman kay nanay, kay tatay, kay mama, kay mami, kay daddy, kay papa, 'di ba? Kay lolo, kay lolo. Pakita naman kayo sa bahay. And when we say keep moving, hangga't maaari pawisan ka sa isang araw, 'di ba? Ang advisable kasing exercise is at least 15 minutes per day, twice a week. O twice a week na lang ha. But you keep moving kasi ang setup natin nakaupo. Yung iba nga nakahiga, 'di ba? Yung kwarto yun na rin yung study room. So keep moving. And sana maarawan ka. Makita mo si Haring Araw. Ayan, pa-attendance ka naman kay Haring Araw. Vitamin D is still necessary. Okay? And next, prioritize sleep. Nako, mas lalo na, no? Sabi nyo. Ayan, prioritize sleep. So, hold your sleep time sacred. Okay? As an important part of your self-care. So, isa sa mga, alam ko guilty ang marami dito. Kasi ano po yung tulog? Hindi na sila natutulog. Hindi na nila alam matulog. Yung mga students ko sinasabi nila, 3 hours na lang daw sila natutulog. Sabi ng iba, hindi daw nila alam kung kailan isisingit ang tulog. Diba? Hindi na nila napaprioritize ang sleep. What happened? Sabi ko nga, alam nyo, ang cellphone may alarm kung kailan siya lowbat. Ang katawan, mas matalino yan sa kahit na anong gadget. So may alarm din yan kapag pagod na ang katawang lupa mo. So kapag ikaw ay hikab na ng hikab at talagang yung mata mo ay talagang bumabagsak na, give yourself a time to sleep. Ano na yun? Oras na yun para mag-recharge. Okay? So, your sleep is a critical part of restoring your mind and body and recharging for the next day. Okay? Huwag mong masyadong empty bath yung iyong katawan. Kasi kailangan mo pa yan for the next days. Okay? May bukas pa, mga kaibigan. Ayan. Next, practice pausing. Pag sinabi nating practice pausing, this is about your time to relax or to stop. Diba? Sa Tagalog, pahinga. Okay? Ang root word ng pahinga, hinga. Okay? Kaya nga, kailangan nating huminga. So, sa practice pausing, pwede nyong itry yung tinatawag na square breathing. Sa square breathing, it's 4 by 4 by 4 by 4. Ayun. So, 4 seconds na inhale, and then hold ng 4 seconds din, and then exhale. 4 seconds din. And then, rest na 4 seconds din. So, do that in 30 seconds. Okay. Kung kaya mo, edi do that for 5 minutes. Pero sobra naman na yung breathing mo. No? So, just practice pausing. Breathe lang, lalo na kapag alam mo yung na-trigger ka ng isang sitwasyon na kailangan mong maging reactive. Sometimes pausing is very important para hindi ka masyadong nagre-react. Kasi kapag nag-react ka, hindi mo na mababawi kung ano man yung masabi mo, kung ano man yung magawa mo. So, stop and think. Okay? Yung iba, yung 10 seconds pausing na ginagawa. Kapag na-trigger ng isang sitwasyon, hindi mo na sila magsasalita. So, they will stop for 10 seconds because that will hold whatever reactions you are about to give or to do. Ayan. Next is to balance your mental intake. So balance your mental intake means you don't need to be updated all the time. Okay, mag-filter ka ng kung ano lang yung gusto mo na marinig. It's not selfish to not be updated. Kung kailangan mong mag-unplug sa mga nangyayari sa paligid, it's okay. That is for your mental health as well. That's very important. Okay? So, choose your friends wisely sa Facebook. Ayan. So, kung toxic na no, yung mga feeds na nakikita mo, you can unfollow, you can unfriend, you can block. Your choice, your life. Kasi ikaw naman yung magdurusan yan eh, kung hindi mo na talaga kayang i-manage. Yan. So, may control ka dyan. So, balance your mental intake. It's very important. Next is to check in on yourself. Ayan. So, do not wait for other people to ask if you are okay. Ask yourself if you're okay. Sabi ko nga sa mga students ko din, huwag niyo nang hintayin na tanungin kayo kung kumain ka na ba, naligo ka na ba. Kasi alam mo na yan sa sarili mo na responsibilidad mo yan sa sarili mo. Diba? Alam mo na kailangan mo ng maligo, kailangan mo ng mag-toothbrush, kasi 3 days na rin. Ayun. So, kailangan mong i-check yung sarili mo kung okay ka pa ba. Look in front of a mirror. Okay? Makikita mo naman yan, hindi ka naman bulag. So, just give yourself time to pamper yourself. You deserve it. Okay? Ako sinasabi ko, hindi na nyo nagagamit yung mga panlabas. Yung mga magaganda nyong damit, yung mga sapatos nyo, halos lahat na stock ano kasi hindi naman natin siya na kailangan na gamitin. So, naging naging uniform natin yung pajama, tapos parang we neglected to be presentable. Pero sabi ko sa mga students ko, kapag meron kang schedule ng pagliligpit, magsapatos ka. Ayan. So gamitin mo yung mga magaganda mong damit, mag-dress ka kapag kailangan mong maglinis ng kwarto, yan, mag-ayos ka yun para masulit yung presyo ng gamit mo. O, di ba? So at least that's also making yourself good. Diba? When you are in good clothing, diba? Iba rin yung pakiramdam mo. So, pag-ayos-ayos. So, check in on yourself. Next, use your supports. Yan. So, when we say supports, these are external supports. So, aside from us being responsible for ourselves, sometimes when we are overwhelmed with a lot of emotions, hindi natin kayang i-manage. That's why it is the time to really look for someone. Yan. So, time to activate our support network. So, if you haven't established yet your support, so it is the time to ask someone, okay, how are they feeling, di ba? Ang laking bagay nun, sa totoo lang, yung may magtanong sa'yo kung kumusta ka ngayon, okay ka pa ba, di ba? Kasi kahit hindi ka okay, when you know that someone is there for you, kahit isang tao lang yan, malaking bagay para ma-ease ulit yung burden na nararamdaman mo. And of course, ask for emotional and practical support when you need it. Kasi hindi mo kayang solusyonan lahat. Okay? No man is an island. Totoo yun. Consider a professional counselor. You have your teachers also. You have your classmates. Sometimes, your pets, your plants, pwede natin silang use as support kasi they make us feel okay and kahit papaano nababawasan kung ano man yung nararamdaman natin. So again, ask for emotional help. Hindi tayo magpuhulaan kung okay ka pa ba o hindi. You tell them what you feel so that you will be understood as well. Next, okay. Looking into resilience naman tayo. So resilience means bouncing back from adversity. Ayan. So the pandemic itself actually caused us trauma. Okay? Generally, worldwide. Ayan. So resilience is the ability to adapt in the face of adverse conditions. So if you can see here on my picture, in-insert ko dyan, it's a tree na wala ng lupa sa ilalim ng kanyang ugat. But hindi siya namatay, di ba? Hindi siya nawalan ng pag-asa kasi meron pa naman siyang kakapitang lupa sa magkabilang gilid. So it held on very tight. Tapos doon na nagsettle ang roots para makapagpatuloy sa buhay. So ganito tayo, sa totoo lang our experiences in life, lahat ng difficult situations, it's like parang tinatanggalan tayo ng karapatan na magpatuloy, pero nagpapatuloy tayo, di ba? And we are really blessed. Actually, sabi ko nga, sana kayo din nararamdaman nyo na magto 2 years na yung pandemic, pero kahit ilang beses kang nagrereklamo sa nangyayari, kahit ang dami mong hanas-hanas sa buhay, andito tayo, di ba? Ang daming hindi na nakapagpatuloy because of COVID, ang daming nagkakasakit, ang daming mga nangyayaring hindi maganda. Pero ikaw, kahit ang dami mong reklamo sa buhay, ang dami mong pinagdaraanan, andito tayo and we are truly blessed. And I'm very proud because you are resilient. Okay? So sabi dito, it's the ability to adapt in the face of adverse conditions. Usually, it tackles about a person's capability to recover after large traumatic events. So yung trauma, it was experienced worldwide. Pero hindi lahat ng tao na trauma. Okay? Yung iba, parang okay lang kasi hindi na bago. Parang ganun sa kanila yung adjustment. Bago lang yung sakit, pero yung adjustment sa mga ganitong difficult situations, hindi ganun. Pero sa iba, maaari total difference talaga sa buhay. So it became a big or great event, a large traumatic event for them. That's why when we compare our previous state, di ba, kung babalikan natin, alam mo, sasabihin mo sa kaibigan mo, dati productive ako dati maaral ako masipag ako. Actually, yung drive ko na mag-aral hindi mapigilan dati. It's very high. Yung motivation ko sobrang strong. And I'm also I'm an outgoing person. But looking at myself now, parang walang progress, parang nag-iba. Yung ganyan. Meron kang mga ganyang ngayon reflections. Bakit wala akong natututunan sa klase? Nakakalungkot. Hindi ako ganito dati. Yung mga ganyang mga reflections natin. Because that's when we cannot reach our preferred state. And ang malungkot dito, kinukumpara natin yung current situation sa ibang sitwasyon. Hindi na natin maibabalik yung past. That's the reality. So, it is a process and it can be sometimes be crucial. So, yung adjustment na nararanasan natin ngayon, hindi siya overnight na strong ka na okay ka na. Diba? We are still adjusting. And this process is really slow. Pero slow man siya, at least may usad. Diba? Ayan. So, I would like to share with you here the importance of resilience. So, if you're capable of resilience, if you're resilient, this open oneself to sources of help. So you open yourself to sources of help. So ito yung pagkakataon na you acknowledge that you are weak and that you are not capable of giving solution to everything. That's why when you're resilient, you ask for help. And we have to always be reminded that asking does not necessarily show weakness. So if you're struggling in your life, if you're suffering from any difficulty, you have to tell it to someone that you trust. You have to ask for someone to help you because it means you are strong. You want to continue. Okay? You want to be helped. Yan. Another is, if you're resilient, you learn from experience. May it be positive or negative or difficult situation. So we learn from it. Hindi ako nakaabot sa deadline, okay, ng submission. Kasi nga, nagloko yung internet connection namin. But what have you learned from that experience? So you learn that managing your time is important. Kasi hindi mo alam kung kailan magluloko ang internet connection. Tama? So you have a learning experience lagi. Minsan may mga pagkakataon na nararanasan tayo and then we question, maybe God, minsan kine-question mo yung paligid. Ano? Parang, bakit ko kailangang maranasan to? Bakit ko kailangang maramdaman to? And then eventually, time will come, kaya pala, we will understand, di ba? Kaya pala nangyari sa akin. So I can be like this. So I can be like that. Mga ganyan. And then you develop being proactive. Diba? Mas handa ka na humarap sa feeling ko, mas mahirap na sitwasyon kasi you've been in a difficult situation. So kapag binigyan ka ng problema, wala, sisiw na lang yan sa'yo. Diba? Parang, okay, bring it on. So sabihin mong ganyan. Kasi kayang-kaya mo na siya. That's why you are proactive. Alam mo sa sarili mo na kaya mo na dahil kaya mong i-resolve itong isang difficult situation. Okay? And you will be an inspiration to others as well. And of course, you make every day count. Okay? So we have to make every day count because sabi ko nga kanina, we are blessed that we are still here. When we are given another day to live, it means you have a purpose. Okay? Next, ayan, developing coping factors can help. It involves changing behaviors, thoughts, and action. So in resilience, of course, kung gusto mo ng change sa sarili mo, because it's bouncing back from an adverse situation, you must be willing to change as well. Diba? Kung gusto mo ng pagbabago sa paligid, kailangan nandoon din yung adjustment mo sa sarili mo. Diba? Or if you cannot change the environment you are into, change what you can do. So let me share with you 4 resilience factors or ingredients on both school and individual levels. So the following are flexibility and adaptability, purpose, connection to others, and hope. Right? So let's look into flexibility and adaptability. So when we say flexibility and adaptability, this is the practice of viewing changes as opportunities and challenges rather than as threats. Okay? So we have to always see every change that is happening to us. So for example, when we face a different period or phase of our life, like you enter high school, you enter college, you work in for example, a fast food, you decided to work, yung ganyan. So it's new to you. So you try a new hobby, you enter a new relationship. So you must look into it as an opportunity for you to become a better person. Kesa isipin mo na, naku, high school, kailangan kong galingan kasi make or break to kasi it will lead me to college, ganyan. So kailangan lagi competitive na lang yung mindset mo. You will not experience happiness if your mindset is like that. So you have to enjoy the process because your opportunity is there. So you do not see it as threat, diba? Na kailangan mo siyang labanan or i-avoid. So sabi dito, you are more likely to experience a sense of fear if you view something as a threat. Diba? Lagi kang takot. Takot kang bumagsak. Takot kang mawala sa honor. Takot kang mawala yung karelasyon mo. Laging may takot. You know, kapag may takot lagi, it prevents us from challenging ourselves and enjoying new things and growing. Okay? So let it be, flexibility and adaptability. Next, purpose. When we say purpose, it comes from knowing your core values such as honesty, gratitude, and courage, and working in a way that is consistent with them. Okay? So purpose doesn't need to be big. Okay? Smaller purpose can lead us to better outcomes pa nga. So just think of a staircase. Taking the first step in reaching your goal is better than staying where you are. Okay? So what's happening right now? Kahit sabihin natin ang bagal-bagal ng usad ng nangyayari sa buhay natin, na parang wala nga sa totoo lang. But we are doing our small steps one at a time is better than magmukmok sa loob ng kwarto at sumuko sa buhay. Okay? So sabi nga rin nung isang shinare ng kaibigan ko, sabi daw ng kanyang tatay, ang batong patuloy na gumugulong ay hindi nilulumot. Okay? So we have to find our purpose. So one step at a time. Hindi kailangang malaki ang step mo. If you're stepping small steps, okay lang yun kesa walang step. Okay? So when you find a purpose, you create your core values in life. So your families gave you these values. So example, values for your education, that you have to be a good student as much as possible, maging achiever. Ganyan. Pero sa purpose kasi natin, hindi tayo pare-pareho eh. So your purpose may be very big. Yung iba naman, hindi ganun ka-taas yung kanilang purpose because that's based on their values. Yung iba, gusto maging great doctor, great engineer, best teacher, best among of all the professions available. Yung iba, ang purpose nila, gusto nilang mag-travel, gusto nilang makapag-asawa and maging stay-at-home mom. So, all in different directions. So anything that motivates you is an example of something that gives you purpose. So just continue holding on to that because it will lead you to your goal. Next, connection to others. So increase the strength, quality, or numbers of healthy relationships in your life. Kanina nabanggit natin dun sa self-care tips, that if you are struggling, if you're suffering, you have to ask someone. Kahit nag-iisa yan, as long as there is connection. So sabi ko nga, you can sometimes use your pets pa nga kasi we feel like we have this connection with our pets, with dogs, cats, ganyan, or our plants, di ba? Kapag nakikita natin sila, we have this connection that they love us. It doesn't necessarily need to be big. Your circle, keep it small but healthy. So your connection must be inspiring. Dapat nai-inspire ka niyan. Alright? And then, next is hope. Having a positive outlook is a powerful tool. So spend time thinking about all the possible and likely outcomes of a situation, not just the negative things that may happen. It is okay to think about negative possibilities, but it is important to also give attention to the positive possibilities, right? So as long as we are given a new day in our life, it means there is hope. So think of all the possibilities, but always live in the present. So hope is something that gives us a motivation to move forward. So having a positive outlook or hope is a powerful tool, right? So those are the ingredients that will help us cope and be more resilient in this trying time. So let me ask you this. What keeps you going? So ano yung sa tingin nyo yung nagbibigay sa'yo ng drive para magpatuloy pa rin? So you may answer this on the comment section. Ayan, so some will answer family, some will answer dreams, their friends, their loved ones. Okay, so ayan, magandang yan, magandang i-reflect yan sa inyong sarili. What keeps you going? Sabi nga ng Nescafe, para kanino ka bumabangon? Ano yung reason kung bakit ka bumabangon? So I hope in your reflection, kasama sa yung pagbangon and sa pag-usad mo sa ating buhay is yourself. Okay? Because you need you. So, to leave you, okay, let me share an inspiring message here. You are more powerful than you think. So despite the pandemic that we are facing right now, we are still here. And sabi ko nga, we must be blessed for the life that is given to us every day. So you are more powerful than you think. And that your little actions make a big difference. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you learned something. And thank you very much, everyone.